Gratitude. What a funny little concept, right? People love to talk about it like it's this magical thing. Be thankful, they say. Count your blessings. Oh, how charming. But the truth? It's not about counting, is it? It's about understanding. It's about seeing the world for what it really is. Not the shiny, polished version they try to sell you, but the gritty, messy, raw thing it really is. You want to talk about gratitude? Perfection. What a joke, huh? People love to chase after it like it's some golden ticket, like if they can just hold on to it long enough, everything will fall into place. But here's the thing, perfection isn't real. It's an illusion, a fantasy, a mask that we put on to make the world think we've got it all together. But deep down, we all know the truth, don't we? We're all just stumbling through this chaos, trying to make sense of a world that's falling apart at the seams. We chase this idea of perfection, but it's nothing more than a trap. A trap that keeps us running in circles, always thinking that once we hit that perfect moment, everything will be okay. But it won't. It never does. Because perfection doesn't exist. You know what does? The mess. The chaos. That the beautiful, unpredictable disaster of life. That's what's real. That's what's raw. And that's what we should be grateful for. Not the perfect moments. Not the polished version of ourselves we try to sell to the world. No, we should be grateful for the mess, the breakdowns, the moments when everything feels like it's slipping through our fingers. Because those are the moments that shape us. Those are the moments that show us who we really are. Who we're capable of becoming. People try so hard to hide the mess. They try to cover it up, to make it look like everything's fine, like they're always in control, like they've got the perfect life. But the truth is, no one has it all together. Everyone's hiding something. Everyone's carrying some kind of pain, some kind of weight. And the more we pretend that we're perfect, the more we suppress the mess inside, the more we lose ourselves. Because here's the secret, the mess isn't something to be ashamed of. It's something to embrace. It's in the mess that we find the real beauty of life. It's in the chaos that we discover what we're made of. But you won't find that by running from it. You won't find that by pretending everything's okay. No, you have to dive into it, head first, and face it all. The good, the bad, the ugly. All of it. Because that's the only way to see the real picture. The real picture is not a perfectly framed photo, all neat and tidy. No, the real picture is full of cracks, stains, and tears. It's raw, it's real, it's alive. And that's where the beauty lies. Not in the fake, not in the polished, but in the real. In the mess. We've all been told that we have to have everything figured out. That we need to be on a straight path, that we need to know where we're going and how to get there. But that's a lie. No one knows what they're doing. We're all just trying to figure it out as we go along, making mistakes, falling down, getting back up, and hoping for the best. That's the reality. And if we can just accept that, if we can just accept that the mess is part of the process, then maybe, just maybe, we can finally start living. We can stop trying to control everything. We can stop trying to control everything. We can stop hiding behind our perfect little lives and start embracing the mess. The mess is where the growth happens. The mess is where we learn who we really are. And when you can look at that mess and say, thank you, when you can be grateful for the chaos, that's when you start to see the magic. The mess doesn't have to be something to fear. It doesn't have to be something to avoid. It's the thing that makes you stronger, smarter, wiser. And the more you embrace it, the more you learn to be grateful for it, the more you'll see just how beautiful it really is. So forget about perfection. Forget about the illusion that you have to have it all figured out. Forget about the lie that everything has to be neat and tidy. The truth is, life is messy. And that's something to be thankful for. Because it's in the mess that you'll find your true self. It's in the chaos that you'll find your strength. And once you start seeing the beauty in that mess, once you start being grateful for it, that's when you stop hiding from life. That's when you start living. So next time everything falls apart, don't run. Don't hide. Stand in the middle of it and say, thank you. Because it's in that moment, in the mess, that you'll find your true power. That's the real beauty. And that's the thing that'll keep you going. People love to talk about pain like it's something we should run from. They'll tell you that if you just avoid it, if you just block it out, everything will get better. But have you ever really thought about pain? What it really is? It's like fire, right? It burns, it hurts. It makes you want to scream and beg for it to stop. But there's something deeper to it. There's something you can't see at first. It's easy to think that pain is the enemy, the thing that breaks you down, that destroys you. But the truth is pain doesn't destroy you. It shapes you. It molds you into something else, something stronger, something more real. People run from pain like it's this dark monster, but pain is not a monster. Pain is a teacher. You learn more from pain than you ever will from comfort. Comfort? It's a lie. Comfort's the thing that makes you numb, makes you soft, makes you forget what it's like to be alive. Pain, on the other hand, that's the thing that wakes you up. Pain is what lets you know you're still here, still fighting, still capable of feeling something. And the more you run from it, the more you deny it, the more you miss out on what it has to offer. The more you hide from pain, the more it will keep coming for you. It's like a shadow you can't outrun. It will catch up to you, and when it does, it'll be worse. But if you stop running, if you stop hiding, if you just sit in it, face it, and let it burn through you, that's when you start to see what pain really is. That's when you start to see the lessons in it. You see, pain teaches you who you really are. It strips away the mask, the fake smile, the act you've been putting on for the world. It takes away the things you thought defined you, and in doing so, it shows you who you are underneath all the layers. It shows you your true self, the one you've been hiding from, the one you've been too scared to face. Pain doesn't just teach you about yourself, it teaches you about the world. You learn what really matters when you're in pain. You learn what people are willing to do to you, and you learn what you're willing to do to survive. You find out what you're capable of when you're pushed to your limits. You discover just how much you can take, how much you can endure before you break. And when you do break, when you shatter into 1,000 little pieces, that's when you learn that you're not as fragile as you thought. That's when you realize that you're stronger than you could have ever imagined. But here's the kicker. Pain doesn't stop there. It doesn't just teach you about yourself or the world. Pain is like fire because it transforms. It burns away the old you, and in the ashes, something new rises. It's in the wreckage, in the ruins, that you find the strength to rebuild. Pain, when you allow it, can turn you into something better, something greater. It can be the thing that pushes you to evolve, to grow, to rise above whatever it is that's holding you back. And yet, people still try to avoid it. They still try to numb it, to bury it, to pretend like it's not there. They think they can escape it, but they can't. You can't outrun pain. You can't hide from it forever. It's going to find you, no matter how fast you run or how deep you bury yourself. The only way to truly overcome pain is to face it head on, to welcome it, to learn from it, and to let it transform you. Because if you don't, if you keep running, if you keep hiding, you'll never grow. You'll never be able to see the beauty in the mess. And that's the real tragedy. Living a life where you're too scared to feel, too scared to face the truth, too scared to let pain in. But when you let pain in, when you face it, when you embrace it, you'll see that it's not the monster you thought it was. No. It's the thing that makes you real. Pain is the thing that reminds you that you're alive, that you're human, and that you're capable of more than you ever thought possible. So stop running. Stop pretending that everything's fine. Stop acting like pain isn't real. Face it, feel it, and let it teach you. Because in that pain, you'll find the strength to become the person you were always meant to be. And that's the kind of beauty that no one talks about. That's the kind of truth that people are too scared to face. But you'll be grateful for it, because once you've learned the lesson pain has to offer, you'll realize that it's not the thing that breaks you, it's the thing that makes you whole. You ever notice how people run from chaos? They hate it, they avoid it, they do everything they can to keep things neat and tidy, as if that's what life is supposed to be. But let me tell you something, they're missing the point. The point is that chaos, the disorder, the mess, that's where life happens. That's where the real magic is. People love their comfort zones, their little routines, their pretty little lives, thinking that if they just keep everything in line, they'll be happy. But here's the thing, happiness doesn't come from perfection. Happiness doesn't come from control. It doesn't come from everything going according to plan. No, happiness comes from embracing the chaos, from learning to thrive in the mess, from finding beauty in the things that don't fit into your neat little box. It's in the unpredictability of life that you find what really matters. The truth is, life is a mess, and anyone who tells you otherwise is just lying to you. The more you try to fight that, the more miserable you're going to be. The more you try to make everything perfect, the more you're going to feel like you're drowning in this never-ending struggle to maintain some illusion of control. But what if you stopped fighting it? What if you just stopped pretending that you had all the answers? What if you let go of that illusion of control and just embraced the chaos? I'll tell you what would happen. You'd start living. You'd start feeling alive in ways you can't even imagine. You'd see the world in a whole new light, a light that doesn't need everything to make sense, a light that doesn't need everything to be clean and perfect. The truth is, life is messy, and that's the beauty of it. The mess is where you grow, where you learn, where you discover who you really are. You're not going to find out who you are by staying in your little bubble, by keeping everything in line. No, you're going to find out who you really are when everything falls apart, when the world crashes down around you, when nothing makes sense anymore. That's when you get to see what you're really made of. That's when you get to discover your real strength, your real resilience. That's when you get to discover your strength. That's when you get to discover your real power. That's when you get to discover it's easy to pretend you've got it all figured out when everything's going your way, when everything's in perfect order. But when the chaos comes, when the storm hits, that's when you really see who's in control. Spoiler alert, it's not you. And that's the thing, they hate that, don't they? People hate not being in control. They hate the uncertainty. They want everything to be predictable, to fit into their little box. But life doesn't work that way. Life is messy, life is unpredictable, life is chaotic, and if you try to fight it, if you try to make everything perfect, you're gonna lose. But if you accept it, if you stop running from it, if you embrace the chaos for what it is, if you make it your ally, then you've got something real. Because it's in the chaos that you're gonna find your strength. It's in the chaos that you're gonna learn what you're truly capable of. You see, chaos is like a fire. It's destructive, yeah? It burns everything in its path. It tears everything down. And for a while, it feels like you're losing everything. But when the fire's over, when the smoke clears, you've got something new. You've got something stronger. You've got something that was forged in the flames. Something that can't be broken. That's what chaos does. It breaks you down, and then it rebuilds you. Stronger than before. People don't get that. They look at chaos like it's the enemy, but it's not. Chaos is a tool. It's a tool for growth. It's a tool for transformation. If you let it, chaos will make you better. If you try to run from it, you're going to stay stuck, never moving forward, never becoming who you're supposed to be. So stop running from the mess. Stop running from the chaos. Stop trying to make everything perfect. Life is chaos. Life is mess. And that's the most beautiful thing about it. Once you stop resisting that, once you accept that things are never going to be as neat as you want them to be, that's when you start living. That's when you start thriving. Because in the chaos, you find your strength. You find your resilience. You find your real power. You ever notice how people walk around pretending they have it all figured out, like they've got all the answers, like they've got the perfect formula for success, happiness, whatever it is they're chasing? And you know what's the most hilarious part of it? They're all lying to themselves. They're putting on this show, acting like they've got everything under control, when deep down they're just as lost as the rest of us. And they're so prepared to be happy, they just don't want to admit it. No one has the answers, no one knows what the hell they're doing. But the worst part is, people look up to those people, the ones pretending to have it all together. They think that if they could just copy the right steps, follow the right path, then maybe, just maybe, they'd be happy too. But that's the joke, isn't it? Life isn't a step-by-step manual. It's not some easy puzzle that you can solve by following a checklist. It's messy, unpredictable, and it doesn't give a damn about your perfect plans. You can make all the lists you want, have all the goals you want, but life doesn't care about your neat little timeline. You know what life cares about? Survival. You think it's about following the rules? Nah. Life's about surviving the chaos, making it through the shitstorm and coming out the other side with a smile, even if it's a cracked one. People look for stability in all the wrong places. They look for comfort in routines and predictability, as if the world owes them something, as if it's supposed to be easy. But life doesn't owe you a damn thing. It doesn't care if you've had a hard day, a hard week, a hard life. It's going to keep throwing curveballs at you, whether you're ready or not. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop pretending like you can control everything, the sooner you'll realize that it's not about perfection or stability or comfort. It's about grit. It's about resilience. It's about how you deal with the chaos, how you survive the madness, and how you keep moving forward, even when it feels like the whole world is pushing against you. But see, here's the thing. People are terrified of the chaos. They're terrified of not having all the answers. They're terrified of looking stupid, of falling short, of failing. They're scared to take risks, to step out of their neat little boxes because they might screw up. But the real failure isn't in screwing up, it's in never trying. The real failure is in sitting on the sidelines, never playing the game because you're too scared to lose. And that's what most people do. They sit on the sidelines of their own lives, watching the chaos happen around them, terrified to jump in, terrified to get their hands dirty. They think they can avoid the mess. They think they can avoid the pain, but it's always there, lurking in the background. The mess is always a part of the deal. People want everything to be neat and perfect, but it's the imperfections, the mistakes, the screw-ups that give life color. They give it meaning. It's the chaos that makes it interesting. It's the chaos that makes it real. But most people don't get that. They're so focused on avoiding the mess, so focused on keeping everything together, that they miss out on the best part. They miss out on the chance to truly live. Life isn't about avoiding the chaos. It's about embracing it, dancing with it, letting it consume you, letting it teach you. And when you stop resisting it, when you stop running from it, that's when you find out what you're made of. That's when you see who you really are. It's easy to be someone else's version of perfect. It's easy to pretend that you've got everything under control. And then letting it go again, and letting it go again. But the real power comes from being raw, from being vulnerable, from showing up in the mess and saying, this is me, take it or leave it. That's where the magic happens. In the mess, in the chaos. That's where you find your true strength. And when you stop pretending like you've got it all figured out, when you stop trying to be something you're not, that's when you realize that you're already enough, just as you are. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to show up. You just need to be real. The rest will come.